This is a model of Thorncrown Chapel, built between 1978 and 1980 in Eureka Springs, Arkansas by E. Fay Jones. It functions as a temple nestled into the Ozark Cliffs. The design of the building was such that it does not disturb the image of the surrounding environment, as this was of great importance to Jones, an Arkansas native. It features a native flagstone floor, pine and steel arch and trusses, and is completely encased in glass. My model is in reference to the Ozark Gothic masterpiece. Here is the process. So here's where we began, with drawing the floor plan on poster board and making places for the arches. Then I drafted a template for the arches and checked their measurements. To mimic the flagstone floor of the original chapel, I used air-dried clay as a foundation. I didn't anticipate the first problem that I faced, though. The foundation cracked. To the board, in fact. So after a little think, I figured since the clay was still soft, I could use a wet brush to gently seal the cracks. This process took days, but it worked. And with that hurdle passed and with my template made, I could turn my attention to building arches. I did this in stages, measuring and cutting every piece and gluing them together. When the glue dried, eventually, I used a drill bit that I usually would use for my nails to clean up any excess glue that might have spilled over. The things I'll do for a grade, let me tell you. After this, I used some gray acrylic paint mixed with a little bit of water to stain the wood. The original structure used gray treated pine, so that's why I made this choice, to emulate that. Once the clay foundation was dry, I added a coat of white gesso to prime before adding a coat of paint. I did mix this color to match the original rich brown, but sure did not mine come out charcoal. So I remixed the shade to my liking, and now I think it's much closer. After this, the next challenge was going to be gluing the arches into a standing position without them falling over. And man, am I glad that my husband can think, because he said, why not use some jars? And sure look, are they not useful from time to time. After this, I took some craft rocks and used them as a sort of masonry to stabilize the arches as they went up, like the original. I'm also saving the gravel in these bags for later. From here, things progressed really quickly. I included the masonry detail in the sanctuary section. This was my favorite. And I began testing the roof at this point. I was so happy here at this point because this was before the roof collapsed, but sure wasn't I excited. This was me installing the last arch, and you can see I've painted the masonry as I go so that the spaces don't get inaccessible to me and my paintbrush as the building gets longer. And I'm gluing new masonry in as arches are installed. This meant that my work started to progress really quickly after this, and so you'll see changes that don't get filmed as a result. After this, I installed a gravel path to match the original structure. And I painted the base green to match the forest floor. I did do a darker coat of this later. I also installed some structural rails to represent ones that were present on the original building. At this point, I also restarted the roof, and I elected to make them in 2 sheets and connected by all 4 false rib arches for stability of the structure. As you can see, this worked much nicer and it didn't collapse. And after some finishing details, she's finally complete. As requested, the roof can be removed so that the interior of the building can be seen. and so that the structure of the roof can be seen as well. It's at this time that I would like to give credit to Thorncrown Chapel as well as the University of Arkansas for their floor plans. Thank you very much for their special collections. I would also like to thank you, the audience, for watching. Thank you for your consideration if you're grading this assignment. And I hope that you have a great rest of your day.